Hello lads, and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to be talking about what makes someone a bad driver, or not necessarily a completely bad driver, but little habits that are generally bad on the road and things that you can keep an eye out for yourself and others to keep an eye on and improve on. But being a good or a bad driver is a pretty sensitive topic, so I thought it might be a little bit risky to cover this, but I've covered riskier topics in the past. Driving's one of those things that's really simple to pick up, but it's endlessly difficult to really master, so we can all get better in different ways. So I'm going to say the first point and the number one point is the incorrect use of speed for the conditions, for the traffic and the situation you're driving in. So speed is one of those things where people think the higher speed, the less safe a situation. Well, what I'm going to argue is that the higher a speed difference, the less safe a situation, not the actual speed of the cars and the traffic on the road. So, for example, if you're on the motorway and everyone's driving at 70, 80 or even 90 mile an hour, then the speed difference between everyone is nothing. And as long as the gap between everyone is decent, then the safety there isn't going to be too bad, because if one person has to stop hard, then everyone has to stop at the same rate. There's no one closing gaps particularly quickly. But there comes a problem where, say, if one person's doing 50 mile an hour and one person's doing 90 or 100 mile an hour, if you've got that, then there's a speed difference of 40 or 50 mile an hour between the two. And that's like if one person was stopped and one person was doing 40 or 50 mile an hour. And that's a big difference and can cause big the So on the road, it's best if you can do the speed limit and the correct speed for the road conditions. If the road conditions allow, do the limit, do 70 mile an hour on the road if it's a motorway. Do 60 if it's a single lane national speed limit, you know? I'd say some of the most dangerous people on the road are the ones who do 40 mile an hour everywhere. They do it through 20 mile an hours, they do it through dual carriageways, and even like maybe they'll go up to 50 mile an hour on the motorway, but they'll do that speed everywhere. And all they're doing is getting in the way. They're tailgating in 20 and 30 mile an hour zones, and then they're causing hold-ups and block traffic on dual carriageways and motorways. Make sure you know your speed limits, that you know what sort of weather conditions you can do the speed limit in, and if it's really bucketing down with rain, if the conditions are short sight distances, then you can slow it down, bring it down, and any other condition than that though, do the right speed for the road. Number two on the list is people who don't look after their cars. So looking after your car is really important. Number one, I'd say, are the condition of the tires, as they're the only thing on the road that are contacting. And you're going to hear this loads from driving instructors, examiners, the lot. They're going to be like, it's the only contact with the road, and it's right, it is. And the amount of rubber you have actually touching the road is tiny on each tire. It really isn't that much. So you're going to want good quality tires. You're going to want to keep them checked, pumped up, check them regularly, like turn the wheel lock to lock and look outside. Like when you're sitting on your driveway or at a parking spot, every now and then, try and look behind the tyre on the inside, because sometimes there could be cracks, there could be gouges out of it that you might not have spotted, maybe a nail, something like that. Make sure they are top quality, they're over 1.6 millimeter tread depth, and they don't look like they're about to go pop or they're bulging or anything like that. I will do a full tyre video very soon. When I get my tyres changed on this, I'll do a whole cool vlog discussion of tyres and the differences and different sizes and all that. Especially in the UK, where the weather conditions are like wet or greasy pretty much all the time. Your tread's really important, and the quality of that tyre is really important too. So something that really will make you a bad driver, that will make other people think of other drivers as bad, is when they're impatient and they are really bad at observing what's around them. For example, people who stop where they shouldn't on the road in traffic, and people who get in the way and pull out in front of others. You will fail a driving test if you have to make anyone stop, swerve, slow down, change course. And in the real world, you won't, when you've got your license, you won't fail a test, but you're probably going to get someone who wants to punch you in the face now if you do that to them. You've got to get in the habit of really looking when you check in mirrors in the real world, and really like shoulder checking if you're changing lanes and you're really not sure who's around you. Really get over and have a look out your rear windows and see who's there. Check your blind spots, things like that. Because if you're pulling over on people, you're cutting people up, you're going to incite some serious road rage eventually, and you really don't want to start doing that because you don't know who you're going to be meeting on the road, who's had a really bad day, and you've just given them an excuse for them to take it out on you. The worst drivers on the road are impatient and blind. Don't be any of those two. Take your time. If you really think that you don't want to pull out from somewhere because it might be a bit tight, don't do it, especially if you've got a 1.2 Corsa, you've got a 3-cylinder Corsa that is going to struggle and take 20 million seconds to get to 60 mile an hour as well. And even if you've got a fast car, everyone's got longer stopping distances, and you're going to take longer to get to 60 because you're going to get all this wheel spin, and it's all going to be all fun. So another point of what makes a bad driver is people who drive when they know they're really tired, they're drunk, or they're high on something. So any one of these three things is equally as dangerous as each other. People always are surprised by how much being tired affects your driving. It affects your reaction times, it affects your decisions, and especially when you think there's a bigger gap than there is. There's a lot of sort of drifting lanes, and if it's to the point where you're almost falling asleep and you're doing the sort of little micro sleeps, like you're doing the stereotypical like sort of like drifting off thing, then you could really miss things on the road and miss crucial things, like miss someone pulling up next to you, miss people pulling out in front of you, that sort of thing. Stop, get a coffee, take a nap if you need to. Really, it's not worth, like, just add 20 minutes onto your journey, because otherwise it's going to be way longer if you crash. It's going to be more than 20 minutes. I know being the driver on the night out and you can't drink sucks, but that's why you make sure your friends all go get their driving licenses so you can rotate, and then you make them pay for a taxi for you the next one. The problem is as well with driving, especially with alcohol, is you won't know how bad your driving is. People in the car will, but you won't realize how bad your decisions are. So not knowing how to properly control a car doesn't necessarily make a bad driver, but it doesn't make a very good one. So controlling a car is something that a lot of people just put off and believe they're good at. One thing I'd recommend everyone does is they spend some time with a professional instructor on a skid pan or a racetrack and really get your skills in knowing what understeer is, knowing what oversteer is, how to correct slides, which I still need to do a video on, because the worst thing is getting into a slide in dodgy conditions, or just because you've driven a little bit too quickly into a corner and then freaking out because you don't know what to do. It really does make everyday driving that much more comfortable and fun, because you know sort of where the limits are on cars, and that you'd be semi-comfortable if you got close to those limits. You never know, sometimes those limits come right down as well, like if there's an oil spill on the road that you haven't seen, and you know, you can be driving at 10, 20 mile an hour and your car will start to slide around a roundabout or something because some diesel's dumped half its new oil change everywhere. So distractions are a tricky one, and everyone has distractions when you're driving, especially cars these days with modern infotainment systems like, you know, the sat navs in the middle of the dashboard, and phones and phone mounts and things like that. Try and keep, you know, if you want a sat nav, then fine, use it. If you want to get maps going, and set music on shuffle and just leave it, and get your passengers to sort anything if anything comes up, or stop and pull over if you need to. Even dipping your eyes when you're driving for like 2 or 3 seconds is too long, and it's at that dodgy stage where something's going to crop up. Literally in 2 seconds, someone could pull out on you, or there could be an animal in the road, or someone's spun or something like that. Because sometimes things are hard enough to react to anyway on the road, let alone when you're looking at Spotify or your text your mum sent you. I've actually saved one of the ones that's the most interesting until last, and probably one of the ones that irks me the most and makes probably, I don't know, it's a controversial topic. Tailgating. So tailgating is generally when someone drives right up onto the back bumper of someone when they're driving, or just gets really close behind them. The silly thing is with tailgating, right, is that it actually makes it harder for the person who's trying to overtake, because the closer you get to the person in front of you, the less you can see around them. So it's better to stay back a bit and just kind of do a run-up overtake anyway, and you'll be able to do it faster and safer and give them more room, and they're not going to do something as stupid as brake checking you or swerving. Like, I had some trucker idiot swerve in front of me to stop me overtaking because he'd pulled out on me on a roundabout and I'd done an angry honk. So yeah, it reduces the chance of that sort of thing happening where people are being idiots and brake checking you and trying to somehow get revenge. Let me know, guys, in the comments what the worst driving habits you can think of are, and if you've done any of these. I know, like, we've all tailgated in the past. Sometimes maybe we've been angry at someone. It happens, and some of these things happen. Like, we all make mistakes. We will accidentally pull out on people occasionally or move lanes onto someone. Like, it's happened, right? But what are the worst habits you can think of? I can say officially right now, I'm moving to more full-time YouTube videos and live streams and social media posts, because I'm sort of sorting my schedule and my day out, and I'm recovering from the whole job situation. So YouTube's going to be more of a full-time thing, and hopefully we can bring some much higher quality content. Some more car reviews will be coming definitely early next year. Maybe even some cool car meet stuff organized by myself and a few other people I know, and definitely some cool collaborative videos with some more people. Thank you for being amazing recently, guys. I've been seeing the YouTube community, the car community. I've been seeing a load of new YouTubers coming up and rising, and I'd quite like to do a series, because I'm still a small YouTuber, just highlighting the new and upcoming guys. Maybe that could be a part of the vlogs that I do. It's just an extra section, because I used to do like a song of the day and like all that, but maybe it could be like, here's some cool new YouTubers, let's go and have a look, and kind of like a mini shout out series. Anywho, thank you so much, guys. Make sure to drive safe, don't tailgate anyone, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.